You're listening to Brandon Sports Talk, interviewing professional athletes and Paralympians and Olympians. And now for your professional athlete interview and your host, Brandon P.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Canada Olympian basketball player, Kayla Alexander. How are you doing today?
It's Kayla, and I'm doing great today, Brandon. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in playing in professional basketball?
I didn't actually. Do you want me to start from the beginning or how I ended up playing professionally?
How you became playing professionally?
Okay. So after my going into my senior year, the summer going into my senior year of college, when I was at Syracuse University, I'll never forget it. There was this like mock draft list that happens for like the WNBA where potential players that could potentially get drafted. And it changes throughout the year as players play and evolve and so forth. So during the summer, my dad called me all excited. I was like, "What's going on? Is everything okay?" He's like, "Yeah, guess what?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You are the last name on the mock drafts list for your year." And I was like, "Really?" And he was all excited. And I think in that moment, that's one of the moments where it hit me where it's like, Kayla, this is a possibility. You can continue to play basketball and professionally after this to make a living doing something that you enjoy. So I used that as motivation. And then through going into my senior year, I just used that, tried to do everything I could in my power just to play well, improve as a player to put myself in the best position to play. And then thankfully, at the end of my college career, I ended up getting drafted to San Antonio. And I have not stopped playing professional basketball since. This is actually going into season 12 for me, which has been a huge blessing. I never imagined this life for myself. And as I was playing, I always told myself, okay, if I can make it to 10 years, that would be like amazing. And this is year 12. So this is like the extra cherry on top, just extra bonus years, which I'm thankful for.
What was that experience like going to Syracuse and playing collegiate basketball?
So going to Syracuse was fun. It was a great experience. It was a growing experience for me. It taught me a lot. Helped me to grow and come out of my shell. I remember my freshman year when I first got there, my mom would always call me and she'd say, "Kayla, how was your day? How are you? Did you do anything?" And I'd tell her about different events going on campus. And I told her, like, "Yeah, I might go and do this." And then she'd call me back the next day and she's like, "So did you do anything?" And I was like, "Nope, I just stayed in my room and did my homework." So at the beginning, I was really shy. I stayed to myself, was all in my books and school and basketball. But over time, as I got more comfortable, got into a routine, became more close with my teammates, and then met other athletes and other non-athletes as well, and just made friends that way. My experience at Syracuse grew. I also got involved with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which was amazing. That helped me a lot. It helped me just grow both spiritually and as a overall person, which I'm grateful for and brought me out of my shell. Was able to grow into a leadership role with FCA, which I'm thankful for. Um, but yeah, overall, I have great experiences at Syracuse. I'm the person I am today because of the experiences that I had there and the growth that took place there.
What was that feeling like getting to put on that Syracuse orange uniform and getting to represent them?
It was pretty exciting. I remember, so when I was getting recruited, my last two schools were Illinois University and Syracuse University, both orange schools, ironically. And I ended up choosing Syracuse because I felt like I had like the best relationship with the coaches. Like me and my parents had developed a good relationship with them. I also had a pretty good relationship with the athletes who were there at the time. So being able to actually put on that jersey for the first game, just knowing that Kayla, you've accomplished something here. Like you're playing at the D1 level now. You're playing against girls that you just a year ago you're coming in the stands cheering them on, and now you're part of the actual club, like the actual team. That was a pretty cool moment for sure. So that I'll always be grateful for.
Leading up to getting drafted, what was that feeling like knowing that one day you would be drafted into the WNBA?
It kind of goes back to the mock draft list, draft list that my dad story that I shared, like with my dad calling me, telling me, and knowing that okay, this is a possibility. I think that's when it became a reality, and then just realizing like, oh, this is possible. Like I can continue to pursue this and get paid for it and play this sport across the globe. That was a whole new world to me that I kind of had a little inkling from watching like Love and Basketball, the movie. I'm sure everybody's watched that, like every athlete. But besides that, I just wasn't too familiar with what it could possibly look like outside of like the WNBA. So
How was that feeling like when you did get when you heard your name being called as a WNBA draft pick?
So I actually did not hear my name get called. For the draft, I wasn't invited, which was fine by me because again, I was all about my schoolwork. So I had classes that day. I'm pretty sure it was a Monday. And I remember that evening I had Bible study. So we had women's Bible study. So I went. And the second we concluded in prayer, my phone went off. And the first person that got through to me was I think it was my teammate Felicia. And she's like, girl, you just got drafted. And she told me, and then all the girls who I was with during Bible study started congratulating me. Then the second person to get through to me was my assistant coach at the time, Cornell Battle. And he actually had my parents on the other line because back home in Canada, we didn't have all the channels. So we weren't able to watch the draft. So he had them on speaker listening to the draft while he was watching it on TV. So that was a really cool moment that we all got to share together. So when I found out, I got to share that moment and celebrate it with my Bible study uh, members, and then my teammate, and then my family and my coach, which is really nice.
What was that feeling like once you got to San Antonio and got started and putting on the jersey representing them?
Yes. Yeah, I remember when I got to San Antonio, it was just like a new experience. I was all the way in San Antonio, Texas, so that was different. It was hot, so different from my time at Syracuse where it's snowy and cold. And then just knowing that I was entering into a pro situation, the girls I was playing against, or I should say the woman I was playing against, I'll never forget. My teammate was Jane Appel. She was one of my teammates. And I remember my coach, Cornell Battle, he'd have me watch film of different players when I was at Syracuse. And he specifically had me watch film on Jane Appel because he loved the way that she ran the floor. She buried her defenders down low to get position. And then she was really good at using the hook shots or just getting easy layups just from doing the work early. And he was like, okay, like let's watch some of this so you can try and emulate how she plays. So then I get drafted and she's my teammate and she's giving me work in practices every day and she's so strong. But she was also an incredible vet to have. Like she challenged me on the floor. Like it was battles on the floor for sure. She made me a better player, but she was also like one of those vets that helped you. She wanted to see you succeed. So if I was struggling with the play and I was on offense and I was in the wrong spot, she'd be like, Kayla, go set the screen for so and so, or like go do this. Like she was very helpful. She was a really good vet that way. So I'm forever thankful to her. But yeah, it was just a different experience, another opportunity to grow, be outside my comfort zone, be in a new environment. But I'm thankful for it. I know God put me there for a reason, so I'm very grateful that I had that experience.
How was that feeling like for you getting to put on your first San Antonio Stars professional jersey versus your first time putting on that college jersey?
I feel like the joy is still the same, the excitement, that feeling of wow, like this has actually happened. This is something I've been working towards, and I'm finally seeing it come to fruition. And then as far as like having that experience at San Antonio, it was like this is the pro level now. Like this is something that I'm going to get paid to do. Um, yeah, I remember the first time I put it on, it was for like a preseason game. And that was pretty exciting. And just having that first experience of like getting my feet wet of, okay, this is what it's going to feel like all season long now, playing against these athletes and the pace of the game, the physicality of the game. Yeah, it was pretty exciting, I'd say for sure.
What was that feeling like getting to play with the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough, I got to play with the San Antonio Stars for 5 seasons. And then after that, the team was moved to, or yeah, I guess you could say moved to San Antonio or to Las Vegas Aces. So they got rid of the team in San Antonio. And during that process, I got traded to Indiana. So I got to play in Indiana for a year. And then after Indiana, I played for Chicago. And both were different experiences. They're very different, but experiences that I'm grateful for and thankful for. When I played for Chicago, it was actually my assistant coach at the time in San Antonio who ended up being the head coach when I got there. So that was like a small circle moment, I guess, or full circle moment. But I was very appreciative of all my time in the WNBA, to be honest, because it really helped grow me as a person, helped develop my game, and helped set me up for where I am today.
What was it like getting to first compete for Team Canada?
So the very first time I ever competed for Team Canada, I believe it was with the junior national team. I'm pretty sure, yeah. So I think I was maybe, I want to say 16 or 17 years old when I first competed for Canada. And that was absolutely amazing. I loved it. That was something that I just took so much pride in, being able to say that I'm one of the best in Canada for my age group. We get to play internationally. I remember the first time I ever went to France was with Team Canada. Then I got to explore all these beautiful places. We traveled to France, we went to Thailand, we went to Argentina, um, all through Canada basketball. And that was my first time. Yeah, it's actually my first time like traveling internationally outside of Jamaica. Um, and it was all because of basketball. So it really opened my eyes to like the world and like just seeing different styles of play, just knowing what a global sport this was. And then also just made me really appreciative, like, wow, the opportunities and experiences I get all because of an orange bouncy ball. So that was unreal. And then as I continued to like play junior can for Team Canada, junior level, then I got put on the development team because I tried to out for the senior team because the goal was to always play at the Olympics and represent Team Canada at the highest level. And unfortunately, I didn't make it. Got cut my first year, put on the development team, tried out again, got cut again, tried out again, finally made the team, but they got injured in our second exhibition game right before we left for the World Cup. So I didn't get to play and then tried out again and officially made the team. So it was a lot of perseverance, a lot of frustration and tears, a lot of hard work and dedication, and staying confident in myself and my abilities, and continuing to pursue something that I knew was a dream of mine. So a lot of ups and downs, but again, grateful for it all because it helped shape me to the person and allow me to be where I am today. And also really appreciate um, certain moments. Like when I finally put on that Canada jersey, I was truly like appreciative and grateful because I knew how hard and how long I had wanted to represent Canada, especially at the senior level. So,
For you, what was that difference like getting to put on your WNBA jersey versus representing Canada and putting on your Olympic jersey for Canada?
hmm. I think it's different because for the like, don't get me wrong, like being able to put on your WNBA jersey or your pro jersey, like you're always grateful for the opportunity to represent a club or an organization and to get paid to do it and to play against the best of the best in that league. Like that's a blessing in itself. Um, Being able, whether it's in the W, wherever you're living in a new city, you get to experience that city, the people, you get to be involved in that community. But when it comes to your national team, that's your community. That's where you're from. That's where you grew up. That's where you were born. Those are your people. That's your country. That's your pride and joy. So when being able to represent Canada at that highest level is something like I'll never forget, never take for granted, and will always be grateful for because again, I know how hard it is to get there. To be able to say that I play the sport that I love and I'm one of 12, like to me, that's like a blessing. Like yeah, that's mind blowing to me. It's just something that I'm grateful for because it's not easy to accomplish that. So I'm forever thankful. Um, and then also too, just thinking like if you want to go a little deeper with it as well too. Like my grandparents moved here from Jamaica, and then my mom, she was born in Jamaica at the time. She moved to Canada. My father, he's the youngest of seven, all except for the last two. So him and and my aunt were born in Jamaica. So to be able to have like these immigrant parents and grandparents that came to Canada in search of like a better life, and then for me to have the opportunities that I had and to represent Canada, like it just, how can you take that for granted?
What are some of the biggest challenges you have faced from going from playing in the WNBA to being an Olympian?
Um, Challenges that I faced from playing in the WNBA to going to the Olympics?
Hmm.
Hmm. If anything, I think for me, for like a personal challenge that I experienced was I know it was really hard at one time playing in the W and trying to make the Olympic team. I know when I finally made the Olympic team, I was no longer playing in the W, and that's because well, one factor I know is like the schedule conflict. Most of your national team competitions usually take place during like the summer, sometimes the fall. So like whether it's America Cup or the World Cup, that's usually that time where those competitions are taking place. And because I was in the W, I was constantly missing these opportunities to train and to compete at those events. So it was hard to essentially make the team as well because of that time, um, not time commitment, that time restraint, I guess. Like it just wasn't matching. The schedules were not matching. So I think that could be one conflict that I experienced. Um, but when I stopped playing in the W and was focused solely on overseas and playing for the national team, that schedule aligned much better, made it much easier to get those moments in training camp to build, to understand the systems, to build relationships with my teammates, the coaching staff, and help put me into a position to be successful to make the team.
How was that feeling like getting to go to Tokyo in 2020 to make the Olympic team for the first time?
So it didn't take place actually until 2021 because COVID came and shut down the entire world and we didn't know what was going to go on, what was going to happen. I pray we never have to experience that again, like anybody. Um, but to finally be able to go, I know it was still like don't get me wrong, like I was super excited. Like this was my first Olympics. Again, you're playing against the best of the best in the world, and you were one of 12 to represent your country at the Olympics on the Olympic stage. Like, what? But at the same time, too, there's like a lot of uncertainty around COVID. It was a close Olympics, so we couldn't have fans, friends, and family to travel and be in the gyms with us and support us. The testing that took place, just making sure that you wanted to be able to put yourself in the best position to compete alongside your teammates, but also stay safe at the same time too. So it wasn't the full experience, I would say. Like I still am very grateful for my first Olympics, and being in the village and all that. But there's also a sense of let's be cautious because we don't want to get sick. We don't want to catch anything because if you catch something, then that's it. Like you can't play and you could potentially give it to your teammates and then things could happen. So it was a lot of emotions and things going on at that time, but at the end of the day, still very grateful. Still think Japan, Tokyo did an incredible job putting on the games despite the circumstances that they were under with COVID. All the precautions that they took to make it a wonderful games. Um, and I almost kind of hurt because Tokyo would have been an incredible city to experience, for people to experience. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case. They only got to see it, what they were able to show from afar. So
What are some of your favorite memories and moments competing in the Olympics in 2021 in Tokyo?
favorite moments. I think the first time stepping on that court, for sure, like with our jerseys, hearing the national anthem, like that hits different. Like that experience when you're like arm in arm with your teammates, singing the national anthem and hearing that, like that is just a memory like you'll never forget. Um, ooh, I remember my first ever Olympic game. I was against, we were playing against Serbia. Remember that? So that was cool. We ended up losing, unfortunately, by 4. But I just remember that game, just seeing the level, seeing my teammates and how they were competing and playing, and how it went throughout the game. Um, yeah.
How was that feeling like going to your second Olympics and getting to compete in Paris?
Hmm. So being able to compete at the Paris Olympics was also a dream. Um, it was bittersweet. So it was a dream for me because I don't know why, but ever since I was a little girl, I was always obsessed with France. So when I got the opportunity to finally play pro in France, I was like a dream come true for me. So to be able to compete for my national team and come back, and the first time I ever came to France as well, or Paris, was with Team Canada. So to be able to come back again for the Olympics was a cool experience, like a full circle moment again too. Um, and then I'd say it's bittersweet because this time around there's different satellite villages. So we were in Lille, France. So we weren't exactly in Paris. We weren't in the village. Lille was just a satellite village specifically for basketball athletes. So it kind of felt a little bit when you're there, you didn't get the full experience of being in Paris in the Olympics. It felt a little bit more like a basketball tournament, like a World Cup almost, which is don't take get me wrong. Like the World Cup is absolutely amazing too, but it just didn't have the same feel as being like an actual Olympics. Um, but then when we ended up going to Paris afterwards, And I got to actually go into the village, and I felt like it was okay, like this is the Olympics, this is what it feels like. Um, Also a little bitter because we didn't perform well, so that was kind of disappointing and sad because you have high hopes and expectations, and then when they don't come to fruition, you almost sometimes you feel like a failure. Like I know that's not the case, but it feels like like you failed. Um, but then also sweet because again, being able to experience Paris, and then also this is the first time ever my dad flew to Europe to see me play. And this is the first time my parents, because my mom came as well, got to see me play for Team Canada. So, and live. Usually they have to watch like a stream or something. So that was the first time they got to be in person and cheer me on, which was also a very lovely moment. And I will treasure these memories forever.
What were some of those favorite memories and moments competing in Paris, and what was that experience like for you going to Paris?
So definitely being able to share those moments with my parents for sure, because those were first for them and for me that we got to share together. Being able to be tour guide, because at the time I'd been living in France for 3.5 years and I was pretty familiar with Paris. So being able to show my parents around, taking some of my favorite restaurants, favorite places, um, uh, getting them to sightsee, like that was just beautiful. And then also just the small, quiet moments with my teammates, whether we were playing cards or just talking or doing a Bible study while we were in the village in between games. I enjoyed those moments with them as well too.
While in the Olympic Village, what was that like getting to experience that Olympic trading pins ceremonies?
Okay, sorry, say that again.
While in the village, what was the experience like for you getting to trade pins with other athletes from other countries?
Okay, so again, we didn't get to stay in the Olympic Village. I only got to visit after our basketball time had ended, while we were in Lille. So when I went in by myself, afterwards, just to get the experience to see what the village looked like, I did have the chance to exchange, like I went ham. I exchanged with as many people as I could from different countries, and I love that because that's the same experience and something I was looking forward to that I did in Tokyo, which I thought was a really cool experience because just seeing all the different pins, how they chose to represent their countries, meeting the different athletes as well too. Yeah, I love that experience. Just getting to meet new people and sometimes depending on like the moment, getting to talk to them for a little bit, learn a little bit about them. Like that was pretty special to me.
What does it feel to know that you're an Olympian and have OLY behind your last name?
Yeah, that's something that I'll be forever grateful for sure. It's something that I don't ever want to take for granted because again, I know I keep saying this, but it's so hard to make the national team. It's so hard to get to the actual Olympics. Like it's not an easy feat. Like you have to compete against the best of the best. Um, Hope that things work out. Like fellow Canadians know we almost didn't make the Olympics this year. Thankfully, thanks to Spain, they came back from being down 22 to beat Hungary, and that was our ticket into the Olympics. So it could have been gone like that. So I'm just grateful, honestly, just grateful. It's an honor. I'm so thankful that I get the opportunity, that I have had the opportunity twice now to represent my country and play against some of the best of the best. Yeah, just yeah, I'm getting like goosebumps because I'm just grateful, honestly.
For you, what does
I
that
don't know
mean
how.
to be a two-time Olympian?
I think that just shows how amazing God is to me because you can have a dream and you can put in the work. And like I had an amazing village behind me because let's get something straight. People who accomplish great things or get to accomplish their dreams and goals, like you don't get there by yourself, at least as an athlete. Like I have my parents who, from a young age, believed in me and put me in different organizations to help hone in on my skills and develop. I had coaches along the way, from my grade school coaches to my high school to my Team Canada, college, all of these coaches that poured into me and developed me into the person I am today. Then with the national team, those coaches, the staff, the strength coach, the conditioning coaches, the people who helped me out, the people who I talked to when I just wasn't well up here, like mentally or like struggling. Like it takes a village, like and friends and family who understand the sacrifice that it takes to do what you do. Like you're missing birthdays and special occasions and anniversaries and your friends and family for them to buy into that as well too and understand like yes, like you're gonna miss out on certain things, you have to sacrifice certain things. Like you don't get to this by yourself. So I'm just grateful for the village of people who believed in me and helped me and yeah, help me to get to to this place along the way. And I think that's a testament also to God and the beautiful people that He put in my life. So,
What was that Mama I Made It moment like for you in the Olympics?
what was the what moment?
Mama I Made It moment like.
Yeah, definitely. I would say one, getting on the plane and getting off and landing in Tokyo the first time, or yeah, in Japan the first time, and then in France the second time. Putting on the jersey for sure. Like in Team Canada, we do like a jersey ceremony, so that moment makes it very real as well too. Like seeing Team Canada and then seeing your name on the back, like that's real. And then the first game, when you're warming up and you feel all the nerves and you're just shooting and getting used to the arena and you hear the people and then the whistle blows and it's game time and then it's like this is it, all of it.
What was that feeling like for you getting to receive your Olympic ring and having the Canada maple leaf flag on it?
So I remember I haven't received my ring yet. Sorry, fighting a little cough over here. Um, for Tokyo, I remember getting my Olympic ring and being like, because I didn't even know you got those, so I was kind of surprised and excited. It was nice to have something to remember it by the whole experience. So that was pretty cool. And then I'm looking forward to getting my ring again for the representing Team Canada at Paris. Um, but yeah, it's nice to have those little things that remind you of that experience. And like anytime I do like a school visit, I'll bring it and like have like show it around so the kids can see it too. And they're like, hey, anything's possible. If you like put in the work, have a great village behind you and believe in yourself. So
What is that like getting to meet your fans and having them ask for your autographs and photos with you?
that doesn't happen very often. I have a pretty normal life, pretty boring Kayla. But for the moments that that does happen, first it's always like a little shock to me. I'm like, oh, like they like they want my autograph. Like I don't, to me, I'm just Kayla. But it's humbling, like pretty cool, I'd say. And then if anything, I'm just glad like if I can inspire, especially like the next generation of young girls to like know that if you believe in yourself, put in the work, anything's possible. Like don't be afraid to go after your dreams. Don't be afraid of failure. I've failed so many times in the pursuit of my dreams, and God has been kind. So failure is part of life. Like if anything, I just try to pass on like positive messages and let them know like failure is a part of life. It's not always going to be easy, but if you persist and stay the course and are consistent, like your dreams can happen.
What is it like getting to play alongside some of your teammates from the Olympics?
Pretty amazing. So one for sure that will stick with me is Shay Colley. I love playing with her with Team Canada. I call her my soul sister. Like we have similar birthdays. I'm January 5th, she's January 6th. And just personality wise, I feel like she gets me because I can be a bit of an introvert, quiet person. But she helps to bring me out of my shell. And she's just a beautiful human being. She's hilarious and just is always making things light, which I love. And also, she's ridiculously talented on the court too. Like she can be a bully on the court and can heat up in a hurry. So I loved playing with her for Team Canada. And I also got to play with her professionally overseas when we were playing in France. We played for Tango Bourges together and we won the French Cup together. So like that's a moment that I'm just gonna love and cherish forever because I got to do that alongside someone I consider family. So like that's a blessing in itself. But then I could share a million other stories of all my other teammates who I've played alongside as well. People who I think are like incredible human beings, like Natalie, she's a four-time Olympian. Do you know how hard it is to make it to four Olympics? Like the the state of mind, the commitments, the talent it takes to do that. And I got to play alongside her and learn from her. The same goes for Kia Nurse, for Lara Fields, playing against and with Sammy Hill, like all of my teammates, they're incredible human beings who I truly admire each and every one of them because they all have their own story, their own journey, their own talents, and have all done incredible things and will continue to do amazing and great things. So I'm just honored that I get to share the court with them and learn from them and be able to either rebound and pass to them or they set me up for shots. So just I'm grateful for it all.
Who are some people that you look up to in the basketball world?
Hmm. So I look up to different people for different reasons. For instance, someone like Candace Parker, for like I remember watching her play, especially just watching her play at the college level, and then even just playing, watching her play for the W, and then actually playing against her in the W, like that just was a moment in itself. And then just also play against her overseas as well too. And then just seeing the how she's more than an athlete. I think it was I forget who coined that phrase, more than an athlete, but I love how she changed the game and almost became like positionless in a sense. Like she's a tall woman, but she didn't just play down low. Like she was versatile. She can bring the ball up the floor. She could pass. She can shoot. She could do it all. And she's really changed the way a lot of us play now because of her and like her abilities. Or I should say how a lot of future girls play because of what she was able to do on the court and dunking, like just her athletic ability. Lisa Leslie will always be an all-time favorite of mine just because I thought that she was an absolute beast on the court and just how she composed herself on and off the court. Um, on the Myanmar as well too, just playing against her, having to play against her in college and playing against her again in the WNBA, overseas again as well too. Like these women are talented, but I love that they do so much incredible things off the court as well too, whether it's their foundations, the way they give back, the way they're pouring into their communities, the business moves that they're making. Like I love that they're more than just athletes.
What would you
It
tell
means,
your younger self looking back on your career as a two-time Olympian?
ooh, what would I tell young Kayla? First, I would say, what would I tell young Kayla? Hmm, wow, kind of stumped here. Okay, if I were to go back and talk to young Kayla, if I had the opportunity to talk to her, the first thing I'd want to say is, Kayla, it's gonna all work out the way it's supposed to. Just keep your faith strong. That's number one. God will continue to take care of you and guide you. Like he'll always be with you. So if you keep him first, you'll find a way and make a way through him. So I would definitely be number one. And then after that, I would say, don't be afraid to fail. Like, you don't need to be perfect. Nobody on this earth is perfect. No one will ever be perfect. The only perfect person was Jesus. So stop trying to be perfect. Just be yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes because that's how you grow. That's how you develop and learn. And mistakes are the best teacher. So yeah, don't focus on perfection. Just focus on the process, the journey, improving 1% each and every day. And then I would tell her to just make sure you're always having fun. Yeah, life's short. There's gonna be some hard moments. There's gonna be some beautiful, incredible, God moments. Just make sure that you're having fun and enjoying the process.
How
Yeah, I
would
think those are the things.
how would you define your Olympic legacy so far?
Ooh, okay. So the athlete in me, and just because of who I am, I'm just like I'm grateful that we made it there, but the goal is always the podium, and we haven't been able to accomplish that. So for me, yeah, maybe I'm just being, yeah, that's the mentality I have. It's like, I'm so grateful that we made it to the Olympics because that in itself is hard. But once you get there, it's like, okay, like podium, the goal is to get a medal. Like you want to leave here with something. So, I don't know what I'd say my legacy is, to be honest, because Kayla's still chasing a medal. She still wants that for Team Canada.
What are some of your future plans for your basketball career moving forward?
So, future career moving forward with basketball. Basketball is a sport that you cannot play forever. Unfortunately, I can't play the sport when I'm 60 years old. So it's one of those things that have like an early retirement. So I don't know how many more years I have left. That's totally up in God's hands. So right now I'm at the point where I'm just trying to enjoy each and every moment, just be where my feet are, and just be present and just take it one day at a time. And then I'm hoping that no matter how many more years I have left, that when it's all said and done, that I can stay around the sport and just pass on everything that I've gained and learned. Um, to the next generation. Like if I can in some way leave the sport better than I found it, if I could pass on something positive to somebody else, like a younger girl, encourage her, teach her something, um, give her confidence, whatever it is, if I can pass something on that changes her how she views herself or like the or what her future looks like, then that's my ultimate goal, just to leave something for the next generation because they got next and the girls coming up are again uber talented, uber athletic. Um, the opportunities that they're gonna have are gonna be so much more, which I'm excited about. And I hope that that continues to grow and that they get more options and opportunities and different situations that we didn't have growing up.
What advice would you give those future basketball players looking to play in the WNBA?
Advice I'd give to young girls that want to play in the WNBA, I would say just make sure that you're constantly working on your skills. Like that's number one, like improving your skill set, making sure that you're making yourself someone that coaches need both on both ends on the floor, like whether your ability to score and pass and impact the game both offensively and defensively, because we all know defense is what wins games. Um, Study yourself, study other players, study greats who you want to be like, who have played in your position. Watch film with yourself. It's not always fun, but film does not lie. It will show you the things that you need to work on. So um, I would say that. And then I'd just say also trust the process. Again, like things don't happen overnight. Things happen from consistently putting the work in each day and just building those blocks over time. And most importantly, make sure you're having fun out there and enjoying what you're doing. Because if it's not something that you're passionate about, that you love, on the moments where it gets tough and hard and you just don't feel like doing it, it's going to be easy to give up. So make sure it's something that you're passionate and that you love.
What advice would you give those future Olympians looking to compete for the first time or multiple times?
I think depending on the age, same advice that I gave before is again, it takes time. It's about building consistency, building good habits, building your skill sets, building your knowledge, building that confidence, and just doing the little bit each and every day. It adds up. Things don't happen overnight. It's through consistent work each and every day.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media?
If you're interested, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at KJALEXAN40. So KJ Alexan 40. Um, yeah, I'm mostly just on Instagram, to be honest. I should probably try and get on TikTok, but I just have not been consistent with that. So if you can follow me on Instagram if you'd like.
Thank you again, Kayla, for your interview and best luck in your future as a Canada Olympian.
Oh, thank you. Ooh, can I add one more? You can also follow along at The Magic of Basketball as well. There's going to be some new developments and announcements on there as well too. So for any future young ballers and young girls who love playing sports and are interested in just developing, whether it's their game into future leaders, different skill sets, The Magic of Basketball on Instagram as well too. So stay tuned for that.
Thank you again, Kayla, for your interview and best luck in your future.
I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to interview me, and I really enjoyed your questions.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Kayla, for your interview and best luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.